So I think we discussed till how we do the both multiplication, and I have given you the homework to do. Okay, I don't know how many of you have completed it. You've had quite sufficient time. And here is the answer for you to verify that whatever you have done is right. Okay, and if you have some if you have some doubt in getting it or you are not getting it also, you can raise it now. And before that, can I see really how many of you have done it? Can I see some hand raise? Whoever has completed? Okay. 2, 3, it's going up one by one. At least some 25% of you or 50% of you say raise your hand. I'll be happy whether it's true or not that you have done the work. Like, okay, I see only 3 hands. Fine, but only if you start, please lower your hands. Only if you start working out, you will understand the discussion is better. Okay, it is not that simply want to give some work or we want to make you work. When you do this by yourself, you will know where you really stand and where your understandings are right and where your understandings are wrong, right? And that will, when we discuss further things, it will make you better understand the discussions, and naturally you will become a better engineer. That's all we aim for here. Okay, so this is the result where when you multiply two 8-bit numbers, one is positive, one is negative, and your result is supposed to be a negative number, so you'll be getting minus 78, and this is the answer. This is just for your reference. Okay, if you have got it right, it's nice. So now here we are going to discuss how effective the Booth recoding is. Okay, we have 3 set of combinations here. You just work out each of this combination, do the recoding, and maybe you need some 5 minutes enough to do the recoding. Any one of you respond, please.
Okay.
Okay, so you do the recoding. If you complete before that also, you please let me know, because 5 minutes not required. Anyway, I am giving you sufficient time. You do the recoding, and then we see, we'll have the discussion of how effective it is for different cases. We'll discuss it. If you have completed, please let me know. Completed recoding all the three set of numbers. Then you let me know as soon. Completed? Okay. Then I'll give you the answers for you to verify, right? So these are the answers where the performance of both when we discuss, you can see that in the first case it's actually alternate ones and zeros. So if you have maybe some 16 bits, for example, I'm saying, if you are having the number as such, only 8 additions may be required. Okay, but when you recode it using a Booth multiplier, what happens is alternate ones and zeros ends up making all the bits ones, either plus or minus. Okay, when it happens like this, instead of in the original case, this case you may be ending up with just n by 2 additions only, right? The number of addition required may be only n by 2. But after recoding, if you check, the number of additions required happens to be n here, right? So this you see as a good performance or bad performance? Sneha. Yeah, who said bad performance? Soumya. Soumya. Sneha, what's your opinion?
Hello, madam.
Yes, madam. What do you think? It's a good performance or bad performance? I'm able to hear you. Just give me the answer.
Good performance, ma'am.
Good performance. Why are you stating good performance?
Like
What's in your background going on, Sneha?
ma'am, in the car, home there. See.
What? Home is next to a temple.
No, ma'am, no, ma'am. It's not like they are watching television.
So instead of closing and sitting and listening, you are also getting
I
distracted.
was
Keep the
eating
door open.
breakfast, ma'am. So sorry.
How do you say good performance? It's written there clearly, worst performance, right?
Oh,
Huh?
yes, ma'am.
What
Worst
kind
case
of
multiple.
concentration you are having,
Sorry,
Sneha madam? Huh?
sorry, ma'am.
We say it as the worst case multiplier because in the original, see when you do some algorithm implementation or do some effectiveness, it's supposed to reduce the number of operations or reduce the number of components or reduce the time, right? Some way it should give you the advantage of compared with the original case. When you compare here, hardware resources are all not going to change, but this case our main focus is to reduce number of operations wherever possible. So in this case, if you see initially, I mean the original case may be requiring n by 2 because it's alternate ones, so may be requiring n by 2 additions, whereas in the recoded case, all bits has been converted to ones. So instead of requiring n by 2 operations, it's requiring n addition operations. So definitely it is not improving. It is taking the performance to the maximum possible worst scenario. Okay, because almost all the operations, not one or two added, it's supposed to decrease, that has not happened, or in that case it should remain the same, right? That case is fine. Okay, it is not taking it bad or it is not taking it good, but it remains the same as acceptable. Okay, other than these two cases, anything happens, it is not the acceptable case, and this is the worst case where you end up with double the number of addition operation. Okay, and in the second case, if you see, you have you will be ending up with some 2 3 4 5 9 addition operation. Okay, in the original case, if you have the number as such, you will be ending up with 9 addition operation. And in the recoded case, if you see 1, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, not very effective, but still 1 or 2 operations getting reduced. Okay. And multiplier, if you see, so this is an ordinary case, not good or not bad. It's okay, kind of an changeover. Okay. And in the third case, you see, in the original case, you requires 5 plus 3, 8 addition operations you are in need of. And in the recoded case, you can see that it requires around 4. It has reduced the number of operations to half. Okay, that's a good multiplier. Okay, now observing these three, what is your opinion of when the Booth multiplier works good? When Booth multiplier can give you a good performance? Can you comment on it?
When there are consecutive zeros or ones.
Soumya, can you repeat once again? I heard only
When there are consecutive zeros or ones. In the last case, we have consecutive ones and zeros, not as alternative.
Absolutely right. Kudos to you. Whenever we have consecutive ones and zeros, right? Alternate ones and zeros will end up with worst performance. Okay. And consecutive ones and zeros naturally will end up with the good performance. Okay. Because when it is, when the bits are same for consecutive number of bits, the recoded value is simply going to be 0. Whether the bit remains as 1 or 0 in the original series doesn't matter, but as long as the changeover is not very frequent, the recoded value will remain at zeros. Okay, so whenever we have consecutive ones and zeros, this Booth recoding is very effective recoding solution. Okay, but you see that this is not the best case, and when we propose some solution, you cannot leave it to the user to choose, right? The user cannot sit and do all these analysis and then decide, okay, the user is not going to be an engineer, right? So it's the job of an engineer where they analyze the situation and check out the possible solutions available and then suggest that this is the best one for these scenarios. Okay, so when we recommend this multiplier to the user, we cannot expect them to analyze the numbers every time they give the values, check out whether it works good with Booth multiplier or the normal multiplication would have been better. Based on the number, all these analysis the user can do. Okay, so when we propose something, we have to ensure that it gives minimum good performance. Okay, not all cases it is not going to end up with very optimized performance, but we have to ensure that minimum decent level of performance has been achieved for all cases. That we have to ensure. Okay, so for that you have other modified little bit from the Booth multiplier, right? And there are other fast multipliers has been recommended. We are not going to discuss those fast multipliers because it's out of our syllabus, but you just know that there are other fast multipliers available because of the disadvantage we see in the Booth multiplier. It's one such algorithm is bit pair recoding. Okay, like how we say Booth recoding, the one fast multiplier is named as bit It's bit pair recoding. It's actually similar to booth recoding, but small changes has been suggested to overcome the drawback we have seen in the booth multiplication. Okay, we have seen what is the disadvantage or drawback in booth multiplication when it is not giving good performance for all the cases. Okay, only for few cases, that's especially when it's consecutive ones or consecutive zeros, it gives the good performance. Okay, so to be specific, when it's consecutive ones, because zeros is not going to affect even the normal multiplier. Okay. So small changes has been suggested in both recoding, and they come up with a bit pair recoding. But instead of combining in both recoding, what we do is we combine the previous bit and the current bit to decide the recoded value. And same way again previous bit and the current bit to decide the current recoded value, like that we combine. In bit pair recoding, it is simply like this: you code these two, and then you code these two, and then you code these two, like that. With that changes suggested, the concept ended up with the first multiplier. Okay, this I'm just telling you for your information. You don't have this in your scope of syllabus. Okay, just to know things. Know that there is one fast multiplier, which is the modified version of both recoding, known as bit pair recoding. Okay. So with this, the multiplication over. Okay. Since we didn't have time to discuss in the last session this smaller part of it, we kept it for today's discussion. If you have any doubt in whatever we discussed till now, you can raise it now. Otherwise, we go to the next topic.
Ma'am, excuse me.
Yes, please.
A small doubt. Ma'am, in bit pair recording, number of bits becomes to half, right, ma'am?
Almost.
Then how will it be effective?
Yeah, I mean, how it will be effective? Naturally, the processing, instead of taking n bits, you are making it to n by 2 number of bits, right? So naturally, your number of operations are dependent on the recoded value. That itself you made n by 2, then naturally the number of operations won't exceed n by 2, right?
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
So that's the simple logic for you to understand, but when we discuss the full algorithm, you will understand it better, but we are not going to discuss it here. If any of you have interest, you can go through it, and you have some doubt in understanding it, you can get back. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, any other clarifications, or we go to the next topic? Venkata Supradeep. Venkata Supradeep, are you there or not? Yes. What takes you so much time to get back, Supradeep?
I'm just went for water, drinking water.
Just went for water. Yeah, only when you people move out, this ma'am will be calling. Hmm?
No, I don't.
Ah. Ah?
I'm just
Mm-hmm. Sure. Just went for water. Na? You just conclude what we discussed in the last topic. Supradeep.
Ma'am, you said about worst case components like that.
Yeah, when both recoding performs better.
Ma'am?
When both recording performs better.
Ma'am, in worst case, I think.
In worst case, it performs better. That's already been termed as worst case.
Ma'am, I
Don't you
think
get the
it's
meaning of it?
one between 1 and 0 in count.
All binary is between 1 and 0 only. Pay some attention. You people are paying in lakhs. You should reap the benefit of whatever you are spending. Don't waste time like this.
Okay.
So, shall we go to the next topic? Yeah. So, I already told you that we discussed. We'll be discussing the basic operations and other drawbacks in using the basic things and how do we make it effective. All those things we discuss, and then when we come up with some shortcomings, we will also see how we can overcome, right? What we can propose to overcome those shortcomings. All those things will be discussing. So till now we discussed addition, subtraction, and then multiplication. And one last basic operation is naturally the division. Okay. I hope you guys are able to see the presentation.
Yes.
Okay. So in division, we start with unsigned number guidance when it becomes a signed number. Okay, not in multiplication we discussed both unsigned number, and for signed we discussed two different multiplication. One is the normal signed multiplication with extending the sign bit, and second method is making it effective by using the Booth algorithm. Okay. In division, we discuss unsigned division, right? And for signed division, we'll just discuss the procedure, right, and guidelines. Not going to have it in detail, okay? And in unsigned number division also, we are going to discuss two division method. One is restoring division, and the other one is non-restoring division. Okay. So the procedure of division is same as what we do in longhand division. Okay. You can see that there is a division given here for a decimal, and the same division operation done here using the binary representation. Okay. So in decimal, you all know we start with the most significant digit and we see whether it is divisible. If divisible, we proceed. If not, then we take the next digit also, and then we see whether it is possible to divide now. If yes, we proceed, right? That's the usual procedure. So the process is absolutely the same here in binary also, right? You just represent the numbers in binary, and then you start from the MSB, right? And see whether it is divisible by the divisor. If not possible, then you combine with the next bit and see whether now it is divisible. If yes, you will proceed with the division. Otherwise, you will go for combining it with the next bit. Okay, so all we require here is take to start with, take the MSB, and when it is not possible, then you take the next bit also, and when it is not possible, then again you take the next bit also. If possible, you proceed with the division. Otherwise, again you get back to the same position and get one more additional bits. So the same process we have to implement to design a divisor, right? So here is the sequential circuit for division in a binary number system. So you can see that the dividend value Q, that's the numerator value, right? The numerator value we load it in the register Q, and the divisor, that's the denominator value, we load it in M register. Okay, and as usual we have a register to hold the number whatever we want to process, right? And since it's a signed operation, and when you add n to n bit numbers, naturally you will get n plus 1 bit result. For accommodating all that, we have made the A register and M register sizes n plus 1, not n. Okay, so here we use two n plus 1 registers, okay, and one register of size n. Okay, so M and A registers are of size n plus 1, and Q register is of size n. Okay, so two n plus 1 bit register and one n bit register is what we are having here, right? And your divisor is going to be only n bit size. So what we do is we append the MSB of the divisor with 0. Even if it is not of n bit size, right, you can make it append it with additional zeros whenever needed. Okay, for example, in the previous case you can see that the n supposed to be 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, and your m value is only 4 bit. So naturally the remaining bits you will be appending with zeros, prefixing it with zeros. Okay, and when it is a signed number, naturally one more bit will be added to maintain the range of value what we are dealing with. So it's, when you look at it, it will almost look similar to the multiplier sequential circuit we discussed. Okay, but the function here is a little bit different. So we have to make the changes accordingly, right? What we are going to do is we have the numerator value in Q. So we do the left shift here instead of we did a right shift in the multiplier to retain the generated partial product. Here what we need is, if we explained here, we start with MSB bit, and then if not divisible we take the next bit, if not divisible we take the next bit. So with this left shift, this is what we are planning to achieve. Okay, we first, by doing one left shift, the value the MSB of the numerator has been shifted to A0. Okay, and then what we do here is we subtract. Division is repeated subtraction, right? So we start with subtraction, right? and I mean subtraction here again 2's complement addition only. Okay, so the control sequence, once the value has been shifted left, the control sequence gives the control to add. So naturally the value in A and the value in M gets added and result is getting stored in A. Now at the end of this operation, if that subtraction is not possible, right, that means the division is not possible, right? If you are having 5 and 3 as numbers, you try to you are having 3 and 5 as numbers, you try to divide 3 by 5, you will end up, when you try to divide, we ultimately do subtraction. When you subtract, you will end up with the negative number representation only. Okay, so when it is a negative number, after addition, if this bit is negative, right, it shows that the division is not possible. Okay, so taking the value of this an bit, you can see that there is a line given to the control sequence. Once the addition, 2's complement addition has been over, the control sequence gets the MSB bit from the A register, and based on it, now we have decided that that division is not possible because it's a result is a negative result, right? So when you subtract, if your MSB is 1, that subtract means 2's complement addition. If MSB bit is 1, that means that subtraction is not possible. It's a negative number. So what happens is, when that information has been given to the control sequencer, the control sequence decides whether at that time the quotient value should be 0 or 1. Okay, so when the division is not possible, naturally the quotient value should be 0. When the division is not possible, whenever MSB here is 1 after 2's complement addition, that division is not possible. So whenever this an is 1 after the subtraction, the quotient is supposed to be 0, and whenever this an is 0 after subtraction, the quotient is supposed to be 1. Okay, so that will be decided by the control sequencer once the subtraction has been over. Okay, and based on that decision, this Q0 bit will be set. Right now at the initial stage, there won't be any value in Q0 because we started the operation with shift left. So when you shift one bit left, naturally this box will not be filled with any value. Okay, and it is not going to affect the value of Q also. Q will also be retained. At the same time, that quotient value will also be decided and stored in Q0. Okay, so this, now the control sequence should not only decide what should be the value of Q0, whether it should be 0 or 1, it should also do the restoration whenever the division is not possible, right? We assume that the division is possible and we subtracted. When that subtraction is not possible, we have to restore, right? For example, here we are taking 1 and we are doing the subtraction. When we realize that the subtraction is not possible, we make the quotient 0 and then we restore this value to 1 again. Only after that we can combine with the next bit and take it and check again whether the division is possible. Okay, so the same process should be completed here. After deciding that the quotient is 0, when the subtraction is not possible, the value should be restored. Okay. So now initially what we did, we subtracted 3 minus 5. Now we realize that this will end up with the result of minus 2. We realize that the subtraction is not possible because it's the lower number. Then to restore it, what we are supposed to do? We simply add the same value with the result. Right? When we add minus 2 with, the result is minus 2. When we add the same number with the resultant, naturally we will be ending up with the same value. So that means the value has been restored here. Right? You getting it? So once we restored, then again we start from the first step of next cycle, that is shift one more bit again left into A register. So according to this example, initially when you shift there will be 1, and now during the second shift there will be 0 also, right? Now in A, there will be in A register, the value will be 1 and 0 here is the value in A register. Okay. Now again you go for subtracting it and check what is the value of AN. If AN is positive, if AN is 1, okay, that means it's a negative number. Then again, when you shift it here, naturally Q0, whatever we have set has been already shifted here. So right now Q0 will be empty. Okay. Now what happens? Again, you decide based on the AN value whether this Q0 should be set or reset. Okay. And again, same based on the AN value, you also decide whether the value should be restored or can be kept as such, and proceed with the next iteration. Okay. So in this case, again at the end of second iteration, you will be getting negative result only, because 10 is not definitely divisible by 1101. So again we will make the quotient value 0, right? And again we restore the value to 10, and then we bring in the next bit. And again we will see that the division is not possible. So we make the quotient 0, and we have the we restore the value again to 100. Then we take the next bit. When you keep on proceed like this, will only during the fifth iteration the division becomes, the subtraction becomes possible, and after that we set the quotient to 1 and we get the remainder, and we bring back the additional bits. We proceed for n iterations here. Okay. Now you just take 2 minutes, understand the process. We'll be doing the problem based on this now. And if you don't understand any step in between, you let me know. I'll explain it once again. Only if you understand the whole process, you can comfortably do the problem based on this. You understood? We wait or we continue? Vishwant. Vishwanath.
Yes, ma'am.
We wait, we
Ma'am, can you
continue,
hear
or
me?
you guys understand? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. We can continue.
Why you people say silent till I call someone?
Sorry, ma'am.
So this complete division sequential circuit, the flow will start with shifting the Q value right to the left, and then when you shift to Q, naturally A will also be shifted, because already I mean at the initial stage A will be initialized with the zeros, and in the next stages A will be having the previous subtracted result, or will be having the restored value. Okay, and do remember that A and M size should be n plus 1, and only Q size should be n. Okay, if you make mistake in this at first step itself, the entire problem will be wrong. Okay, so we start with we shift A, I mean initialize A with 0, load the value of numerator in Q and denominator in M. Okay, and then we start with shifting A and Q 1 bit position left. Okay, then in the second step we subtract M from A and we place the answer back in A. And after the subtraction, we check the AN bit. If A is 1, then it is a negative number. We set the Q0 to 0. And when it is a negative number, we not only set Q0 to 0, we also have to restore the value back. Okay. And if A is that is AN, the MSB bit of A is 0, then the subtraction is possible. We need not do any restoration. We simply set the Q0 to 1. Okay, and we repeat this process for n number of times. These are the steps involved, right? And we see the problem now. So we start with dividing I think 8 by 3, right? You can see that Q has been loaded with 8, right? And it's a 4-bit number. So Q is a 4-bit number. So naturally A and M size should be 5-bit. Okay, so you can see that Q is only 4-bit, but A and M has been 5 bits here. This is the value of A and this is the value of M. Okay, and both are 5 bits here, right? Now to start with, our first step is shift both A and Q, right? This complete value should be shifted 1 bit left without filling the Q0. When you shift left, naturally the rightmost bit will be empty, and sometimes we replace it with 0, sometimes we just keep it as such. And this case we need not refill with any value. We can have the bit as such, because end of the subtraction we decide whether that value should be 1 or 0. Okay, so we start with shifting. After shift, this will be the value in A, because whatever value in Q, MSB of Q has been shifted to A here, and all 1 bit left, and the Q0 position is empty now. Okay, the first step is shift. That's been over. And the second step is subtract, right? So M value should be subtracted from this value, right? 0, 0, 0, 0, 1. And subtract here, you know that it is 2's complement addition, and when you add, since M is 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, the 2's complement of this value is going to be 1, 0, 1, 1, 1. Okay, this is going to be the 2's complement value of M. So now whenever we say subtract, this value should be added with the A value. So A is right now 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, and when we subtract, we add 111, 0, 1 to this. So here when we add, we are supposed to get 1 and 1. When you add 0 and 1, here 0 and 0 carry 1, so you will be getting 1, remaining all 0 and 1 addition. So the result you will be getting is 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 0. Okay, 4, 1 and 0 will be the result you get after the addition. Okay, so like I said, 4, 1 and 0 is what you are getting. Now we check the value of AN, right? AN is 1 here. So that means this subtraction is not possible, right? So you have to decide two things. You have to do two things based on the AN value. Decide on the Q0 value, whether it's supposed to be 0 or 1, and decide on whether the restore step should be carried out or not. Okay, so when it is 1, the subtraction is not possible, so Q value should be 0, and that means the value should be restored to the original value. So we subtracted M here, we add the same M here, right? And we, at the end of the addition, you can see that the value is whatever value it was there during the first cycle. Okay, so this value is same as what you are having here. At the end of the iteration, we restored the value, realizing that the subtraction is not possible, and also we decided the quotient bit as 0. You get this clearly?
Yes.
So the same process we have to repeat for n times. Here the n value is 4, so we have to repeat for 4 times. Okay. So in the second cycle starts with the shifting, right? Now this is the A value and this is the Q value. Now these two only combinedly we are going to shift, right? So now when you shift this MSB at the Q is 0, so that 0 will be at A0, and whatever was there in A shifted by 1 bit positions. You can see here, right? And one empty space will be there to decide on the quotient. Okay, so once you shifted, you go for subtract. Again, 2's complement addition of m, and then you go for adding it. End of the added result, the addition is very simple here. Here there is only 1 and here no 1, where I mean in only one place there is no 1. So when you add, you get all 1s here, right? And end of the subtraction, you can see that again an value, an here is 1. That means the subtraction is not possible. Okay, so in that case you have to set the q value as 0 and restore the value of a by adding m back. Okay, so that is what we have done here. We have set the q naught value to 0 and then we are adding the m value back. So end of the addition, you can see here the a value becomes 0 0 0 1 0, and that's the same value at the beginning of the second cycle. Okay, clear with this?
Yes, ma'am.
Now we go for the third cycle, where this value, again this is the a value, this is the q value. You shift once again, right? When you shift once again, the a value becomes 0 0 1 0 0, and then we go for subtracting m, and we see how it works. This is the third cycle where the shifting takes place, and end of shifting the a value is 0 0 1 0 0, right? And then we go for subtraction. Now the value, you can see that it's equal to 4 in a, and the value what we are going to subtract is 3 because m value is 1 1, right? So naturally this subtraction will be possible. Okay, and we can verify the same here. When we add the 2's complement of m, we end up with the result of 0 0 0 0 1. Okay, more than this 5 bit, any other extra bit you get, you are not supposed to include it, because you can see in the design only n plus 1 bits get stored, remaining bits are not getting stored. Okay, so in this case, if you see 0 and 1 1 0 0 0 1 1 0, carry you get 1, again 1 1 0, carry you get 1, again 1 1 0, you will get carry, but that will not be stored. Okay, the value only n plus 1 bits are stored, and that case if you check the an bit, that is 0 here. Okay, so if an bit is 0, that means the result is a positive result. That means that subtraction is possible, and the MSB, I mean the Q naught bit be set, right? And there is no restoration required at this point because it's a positive result where the subtraction is possible. That means we no need to restore. We proceed with whatever the remainder we get, again combining with the remaining bits. Okay, that's the general rule of your long division. Okay, so we set the Q naught bit to 1 and then we leave it as such in the third cycle. So now we go to the fourth cycle by shifting this 0 also here, and that makes an empty space here. Okay, so end of shifting, again your A value becomes 0, 0, 1, 0. Okay, this is the A value. Now when you shift 1 bit position here, you will be ending up with 0, 0, 1, 0. So again you go for subtraction. The A value is 0, 0, 1, 0, which is not divisible by 3. So naturally we will be ending up with a negative result. And when the result is negative, you set the Q0 bit and then you restore it, right? So we have repeated this for 4 times where n is 4 here, right? So that shows that end of the process, and in the end where you will get the reminder and where. Nitesh, can you tell me in the end of the process where you can find the reminder, where you can find the quotient? What we are doing in Q?
Ma'am?
What we are doing in Q register? Yes, Nitesh. Why did you mute yourself?
Ma'am, 10 is the remainder, ma'am.
What are you doing? Muting yourself and then coming back and muting. Huh? What's going on there, Nitesh? Nitesh, what is going on there?
Ma'am, 0010 is the remainder, ma'am. Then ma'am, sorry, 0010 is the remainder, ma'am.
Instead of you struggling a lot, why don't you put that guy directly into the line? He can unmute himself and speak over here.
Ma'am?
Whoever instructing you, he can unmute yourself, himself and speak over here.
Can't.
So can anyone tell me where you can find the quotient value and where you can find the remainder value? End of the process where you can find. Yes, Vivachan, make it audible.
Blue boxes are the quotient, and then
where those blue boxes exist.
Q register.
Absolutely right. Kudos. The Q register, end of the process, Q register will be having the quotients and A register will be having the remainder. Okay. So we are not using any additional registers here. We are using the available registers, optimize it and getting the results whatever we need it. Right. So end of it, Q register will be having the quotient, right? And A register will be having the remainder. Okay. So that's the you can see here we initially load A with zeros and M with the denominator, Q with the numerator. Okay, and end of that n iteration, what we'll be having is in Q we will have the quotient because that is where we set the quotient. right? If you remember the block itself, you can answer very easily, right? And the remainder will be there in the A register. Okay, and this add and subtract, this subtract is for doing the division, and add is for doing the restoration whenever the division is not possible. Okay, is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So you have any doubt in this, you can raise, otherwise if you are not having any doubt, we can wind up. If you are having some doubt, you can raise. Yes, have you understood or not?
Yes, ma'am. Understood.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is the restoring division. At every step we check whether the subtraction is possible, and if not, we try to restore back before we proceed with the next iteration. Okay, and in the next session we will discuss this. Every time you realize that that subtraction is not possible, you have to do some additional work, right? So in the next session we see, if possible, can we do it without restoring every time. That's the non-restoring division, right? If we can do that, naturally we reduce the number of operations required, because here you can see that at 3 places you require restoration out of 4 iteration, right? So out of 4 subtraction, 3 you are supposed to restore back, naturally ending up with additional number of operations. So in the next algorithm we check out whether we can do it without incurring this much of restoration. Okay, that's our next algorithm. We'll discuss in the next class. Okay, so that's all for today, and we'll meet in the next session.